realize that I have a whole plethora of reaction requests to do, but I wanted to do this first for the new year. And I also wanted to let this be known that for anyone that hasn't seen it yet, I did do reactions to Kamen Rider Double and Decade. So I will put the links to those both videos in the description for anyone who missed it and was asking, where's Decade? Where's Double? I did them already. It's just that for some reason, it's just I don't know. I don't think people really saw it. But also, we're gonna be doing reactions the opposite way of those two videos. So it'll be right on like you'll see it, the left screen, and you'll see my full screen camera here. So just wanted to point that out and let it be known. So because I decided to do that, and it's just like, yeah, you know what, it might as well just do that. Also, we got these now, thanks to Urban Ninja. So here we go. History of Kamen Rider O's. This is one of my favorite writers of the Heisei era. I love O's. O's can never do wrong to me. O's can never do wrong. But I was saddened when they had to kill Edgy. So yeah. Without further ado, let's get on with this. Let's do it. Hope y'all can hear it. Oh wow, Marcosatsu, you really are something. You really are something. I gotta say, like, he didn't have to do that, but he's cool. Marcosatsu was cool. This man is cool. One hike later, I need to go back on hikes. I definitely do. My man chilling.
I wonder whose underwear this is.
Hey yo! Yes! Oh yes! Oh. Yes! Let's go!
Okay, so I'll be saying this a lot for Phase 2 Kamen Riders. Yada yada, something new for the franchise, yada yada. Luckily, that isn't the biggest case here. Kamen Rider Double was the start of a new trend, and it did just enough and well enough to define a formula that didn't need to change direction.
Facts.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Variation doesn't hurt. Kamen Rider seasons are generally...
Hold on. Just to help y'all out, see if that so that way y'all can hear a little bit better. I hope y'all can hear it a little bit better. Anyway, continue.
Set around 2 years before they air, not counting film time. However, Double in the next couple of seasons would have their production a bit more rushed than usual. Since Double was filmed around the same time as Decade, a lot had to be moved around to reach the new shorter deadline, which impresses me by how good Double ended up being. Then came along Kamen Rider O's, following Double's formula of going with what worked in the past, but this time, that philosophy would be a lot closer to Double itself, rather than having too many Showa or Heisei Phase 1 influences. With deadlines already being as tight as it is, there are bound to be at least a couple of changes now that more data is coming from Double sales and reception. O's is a weird amalgamation that somehow ended up being a very well put together show with what it was trying to do and the little time it had to be created. There had to be some expectations set out just in case Double didn't do too well, similar to how Agito had other plans when Kuga was just meant to be a one and done type of thing. You can kind of tell from a short visual that O's is playing it safe enough with the standard set from Double. What if instead of the theming of 2s, there was a theming of 3s? 3 parts to the suit, 3 medals for the belt, 3 segments for each episode title, 3 main factions that we focus on. I can keep going on that for a while. Yeah, O's is safe. Maybe a bit too safe, but that doesn't mean it's not trying. The trailers already look promising, and the premise seemed very interesting.
Now listen. Just because it's safe does not mean it wasn't good. Because when I tell you this was my first, now, again, this was my first rider show. My very first rider show. I loved it. I watched from beginning to end. I watched the movies. I was enticed with O's. Whenever there's a special that comes out about O's, I'm there. Like,
These monsters, called Greed, with 3 E's, awaken, and the hero, known as O's, with 3 O's, uses metals to fight them. Just look at those designs, those colors. Everything looks like it was taking a lot of creativity to bring to the television screen. Even the titles are kind of silly, like Episode 1, Metals, Underwear, and a Mysterious Arm. Now, if that doesn't grab you, maybe these shiny metals will. Shiny metals that form... An alarm goes off and the Kogami Foundation sends out a squad, where their leader, Goto, prepares for a fight. Meanwhile, a security guard is sleeping amidst a fight against the flying CGI metals. Though that's not as weird as the head of the foundation, Kogami himself, starts singing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday.
now I gotta say this. And I'm gonna say this with these headphones off. When I first saw this man on screen, I always wondered, what is this man's fixation on birthdays? What is this man's fixation on having an entire cake mix along with all of the items to bake a cake in front of his desk? What is the deal with him having the birthday song on a record, on an actual record, and him being just overjoyed about birthdays? Like, this, if I wanted to celebrate my birthday, on God, if I could get him, I would get this man to celebrate my birthday, because I know what I'm expecting. I know what I'm expecting. A beautiful cake, him screaming for joy, happy birthday, and that record player. Like, wow.
Thankfully, I don't have to cut the music since the Happy Birthday song is public domain now.
It is. It's literally happy birthday. Oh,
a red
wow.
metal
Never
hits
mind.
the sleeping guard. He takes it as a form of payment and... This is Eiji Hino, a wanderer without any idea where he's staying the night. His only possessions being underwear and very little money. But that's okay. All you really need is underwear for tomorrow, unless it gets burned. Now we're properly introduced to the Greed. They're looking for core metals and one of their own named Ankh. Back with Eiji... Huh?
Oh, yeah,
strength?
this girl.
Arm? Okay, anyway, the Green Greed General inserts a coin into a lady's head to create a mook for the season, a yummy, the literal embodiment of someone's true greed and desire.
Basically.
The name yummy clearly comes from mummies, but it also comes from, and I quote, delicious desires.
Yup. Yummy. Money. Delicious desires. Honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, so they're just creating monsters based upon people's greed and selfishness. I was like, wow, dude. Like, wow.
Yum. If someone's desire feeds that yummy enough, then it powers up into a new form.
Yep.
The yummy comes across the floating arm, recognizing it as Ankh. Eiji tries to fight against the yummy, but clearly is too strong for a human to fight, so Ankh decides to use Eiji in a different way. Ankh brings out an old relic and puts it on Eiji, letting him transform into Kamen Rider O's.
Henshin.
Yes! Oh, I love that. Oh! When he first henshin, that was so good. It was so good. So good. Oh my god, it was so good. Oh my god.
A lot happens at once, but we also got a little
Hold up.
desire debuts in episode. to fight against the Yummy, but clearly is too strong for a human to fight. So Ankh decides to use Eiji in a different way.
We gotta play that again.
Ankh brings out an old
We gotta
relic
play
and
that
puts it
again.
on Eiji, letting him transform into Kamen Rider O's.
変身
Henshin. Ah. Katawa bye.
Wow, how innovative that O's final form is his base form and debuts in episode 1. After the battle, a knocked out police officer starts to move. It seems that Ankh has taken over his body. Kogami once again sings happy birthday, this time to O's. To me, it seems like a lot happens at once, even for it only being the first episode, but it also seems like the status quo is being hit this early on. You can probably already tell that O's cast is going to be quite sizable, and each of them are going to be memorable.
Yep.
We got Eiji, Ankh, and Hina as the main three we're going to focus on, but we also got a lived-in world with the Kogami Foundation and a restaurant called the Kokosya? Is that how it's pronounced? So she said.
多国籍料理店クスクシエ
International Restaurant Kusukushi.
I'm not even gonna try.
Okay.
The police officer that Ankh took over is named Shingo, and he's Hina's brother. He was hurt badly, so if Ankh leaves his body, then Shingo won't last long. A couple episodes later, Hina finds out that her brother has been taken over, and reluctantly accepts the reality. As far as Shingo's job is concerned, he's on vacation, probably from having that really weird wig on his actor. Oh, if you couldn't tell, Ankh, when he's Ankh, that's his actual hair, and when he's Shingo, that's a wig. I know.
Wow. See, what's crazy is that I thought it was the other way around, where that was his actual hair, and that was his wig, and that was a wig. I thought that was like something that they just put on his head. I didn't know that was wow. The more you know. Also, this guy right here, Ankh, to me, is the star of the show. Star of the show. Star of the motherfucking show. This good looking dude is just like, he's everything in this show. Literally is.
Actual hair, and when he's Shingo, that's a wig. I know, it kind of surprised me too. The restaurant that Hina works at is owned by Chiyoko. She is absolutely adorable, and later hires Eiji.
Oh yeah.
Ankh is there too, because he had a bad childhood. The Kogami Foundation's named characters are Kogami, the cake man himself, his assistant, Satonaka, who doesn't work overtime, and the best character in the show, Goto. Now for the greed.
Goto is good too.
Okay, put simply, the greed each use 10 core medals. Now they only have 9 each, so they desire to be complete. The more medals they have, the more powerful they get. Or as Ankh puts it, ice cream will melt away without the stick. Just like the greed without medals. By the way, Ankh really likes ice cream. Remember not to feed your birds ice cream. Our generals are color-coded and animal-coded, so you can kind of get the gist of how they are by taking one look at them.
Pretty
Each
much.
general can also create certain types of yummies, which I think is a cool way to differentiate them, since Eiji and Ankh often have to figure out who created the yummies to figure out how to defeat them. Like how one general can create fast cat-type yummies, or another general can create water-based yummies that fight in hordes. To further differentiate the generals, they can also go into human disguises, which is a mystery for another time. We have the green uva, isn't that grape in Spanish? The blue Mazul, gray Gamel, the best character in the show, Kazuri, and Ankh, who is currently just an arm. Ankh is a bit of a handful. He's like an over-aggressive child that only wants things done his own way. So that's more like a cat than a bird. Take this from a
like
cat owner. I just understand. Originally, Ankh was going to be a soft-spoken guy who would only be a holder for the medals, which is a giant contrast with what we got in the end. And of course, a medal holder is more marketable as a toy.
I honestly wanted that medal holder. But I never got the medals, and I never got the driver. On God, as God is my witness, I have got to get that driver at some point in my life. I have to. I can't be a lover of the show and not have that driver.
Ankh only cares to get a full body back by obtaining his core medals, while Eiji is our usual protagonist that would rather protect civilians than go on a collectathon. Eiji often uses threats to get Ankh to work with him, such as threatening to drop the Yo's driver in the ocean or having to make a deal with the Kogami Foundation. By the end, sea salt ice cream is usually enough to make Ankh comply. Weirdly enough, the ice cream thing was only added as a characterization bit with no real meaning behind it. Is sea salt ice cream any good? Anyway, the Kogami
I don't know. I've
Foundation,
never
of
tried
course, are also interested in the battle between O's and the Greed, even developing technology that has to do with the metals. Not core metals, though. They're working with cell metals. I guess you could say cell metals are more like quarters compared to the $100 bill core metals.
Basically.
That quarter analogy is completely intentional because cell metals can be used in Kogami Foundation vending machines. Trademark. Within them are candroids, little helper robots, and the vending machines are also motorcycles. How lucky that the government happened to let the Kogami Foundation just put these machines here for our heroes to use.
And not just that, but put them all around Japan. Because whenever O's was out and he needed the bike or he needed something, they were just there. The vending machines were literally just there.
I doubt regular civilians would ever come across cell metals. Although, I wonder how they got all this funding in the first place.
How?
So that was about 3 pages worth of groundwork, and of course, I do have to say that I can't talk too much about the overall story or as many episodes because the show is... episodic. Mostly. I'd say other episodic shows have standalone episodes that make up about 90% of their season, but O's is more like 70%. The weird part comes in when there are a lot of standalone episodes, but sometimes those standalones have important bits sprinkled in. As always, I'll go over the major points, but surprisingly, O's so far has been the season that has the most missable little details. They may have to do with the story, like the Greed General saying or acting out something that has some impact later on, or the details can just be some funny joke going on in the background. I won't go over every little thing like that, so I hope it entices you to watch the show yourself, because aside from Hibiki and Kabuto, I think this might be the season where I skipped the most episodes to recap. That should be a testament to how well O's was put together, especially when it comes to the acting and writing. With that out of the way, let's talk toys, as well as O's himself. O's with 3 O's seems a little silly, and it is, but there's a double meaning to it. O in Japanese means king, and O's in universe came from an old king, and the 3 O letters together is meant to resemble infinity. Now here's a point I've been meaning to bring up. O's is officially spelled with 3 O's, but in katakana it's spelled O-Z-U. Ozu. Oz. That's only meant to show how it's pronounced in Japanese, but even in the show, it's spelled with 3 O's. Just something to keep in mind for titles of other seasons.
So basically, it's a translation thing. It's basically just a pronunciation translation thing. Like he's still O's, but if you say it, you have in Japanese Ozu. Yeah, Oz.
That aside, O's the show was presented with 3 concepts. Number 1, a cheerful hero in dark times to contrast real-life events that were happening at that time. Number 2, a reward for defeating an enemy. And number 3, a colorful hero with diverse forms. Those were just concepts for the show. O's himself had inspiration coming from Kamen Rider Ichigo, a king, like I mentioned earlier, and the Olympic Games. One of these is not like the other. It might be obvious just by looking at the Olympics that their rings can be inspirations, but the inspiration also came from winning Olympic medals. The medals were an idea that were pretty much set from the start, but the big obstacle was deciding how they can be incorporated into the story and why anyone would want to collect them in the first place. The theming of 3s pushed along several ideas, and since the Olympic medals had 3 kinds of medals, it was thought that gold, silver, and bronze medals could be a motif. But that would have led to a lot of confusion, as they say. Yasuko Kobayashi, the head writer for O's, suggested using silver medals for the monsters and quote-unquote gold medals for the core idea, as used for transformation and to be the main medals to collect. Obviously, you can see that O's main suit has 3 different medals to create the Tatoba combo. This was chosen to show off that O's gimmick is to switch medals and therefore switch powers and suit parts. If Eiji gets 3 of a kind, for example 3 yellow medals, then he'll create a combo. Here we have Tatoba,
right?
Katakiriba,
Ratorata, yep.
Sagozo,
Zangozo,
and Shouta.
yep. Shoka.
Theoretically, O's has over 100 forms, not counting special medals that we'll see later, and we do see a heck of a lot of combinations within the show, although with so many parts, it's difficult to tell how many suits were actually created. As for me, I always thought the O's suit was just okay. They were serviceable for what they were trying to do, and at least they were very colorful. After rewatching the show, yeah, they grew on me significantly. Tatsuba has a beautiful combination of colors, and it really does show off the weird mix and match capabilities of O's. One of my favorite design choices that grew on me the most is the circular chest piece that's sectioned off by the type of animal used for the transformations. I used to think that part was super ugly since they look like messy lines at a glance, but the more I see it, the smarter the design became. Speaking of lines, a lot of the animals used, as well as the Candroids, were inspired by the Peruvian Nazca lines.
Oh,
mostly
really?
Seen in the bird forms like the Taka head. Other parts got love too, like the grasshopper legs that had actual props to help with the CGI. The lion head was designed in a way that it would still look like a lion if viewed from the top. And there were some ideas like the cheetah legs having wheels at one point.
Oh,
Speaking of
really?
which, Rato Rata still isn't my favorite, but I do appreciate any kind of yellow suit that doesn't make me sick, and the head does look pretty cool. I've seen a couple of ways Rato Rata is spelled and pronounced. Each animal medal is pronounced how they would be in Japanese, hence Taka for
hawk,
Tora for tiger, and Bata for grasshopper.
Right.
Some animal names in Japanese are lifted from English, like cheetah and kondoru, or condor. Ratorata comes from lion, tora, and cheetah, which in Japanese, any words with an L, like in lion, sounds closer to an R. Rayon. It would be more correct in English to spell and say Latorata, but pronounce in Japanese Ratorata, which I personally prefer.
Okay.
Next is Gatakiriba. Despite green being my favorite color, this also isn't in my favorite suits, though it does look good. The beetle head is menacing and the scaled legs are a neat choice. Super awesome fun fact, it cost at least $100,000 of the CGI budget to make Gatakiriba clones.
Wow.
Which is why it wasn't used that often. Otherwise, the villains would be defeated in 5 minutes since AG could just beat them up with the countless clones.
Oh, okay.
So Gozo is up there for me in terms of combos. I'm not the biggest fan of bulky suits, but this looks great. Silver works so well and the arm pieces are really cool. Plus, who doesn't love a powerhouse type of suit? And finally, for now at least, we have Shouta. I would have liked it more if the aquamarine legs had a deeper blue like the other pieces. Although I'd still put Shouta up there if only because of the added parts to the arms. A cute fun fact is that modeling for the whale helmet was difficult compared to Super Sentai, since
Really?
Sentai had already a couple of whale-themed heroes before. I also can't forget the driver aesthetics in general. While the medals as toys don't stand out to me that much, especially since the designs on them are kinda hard to see when they have clear plastic, the O's driver is worth pointing out by how simple it is. Seriously, it's a rectangle with 3 holes. Literally anyone can just draw that. But the extra lines and the added scanner piece makes it that much cooler. The sounds are neat too. While double sounds are basically just the announcement of a single name, O's sounds were made to be commercial-like, similar to the jingles you'd hear in an advertisement. And yeah, a lot of them are super catchy.
So basically, O's is a moneymaker. O's is a moneymaker. Just like Deno. Moneymaker.
Tatoba, Tatoba, Tatoba. All these combos and collectability for the toys led to some of the highest sales numbers in the franchise, resulting in the toys selling out basically everywhere. Like over 800,000 Candroids alone were sold. Now just think about the medals. However, the biggest factor to the high sales were that the medals were compatible with Gomborite arcade machines. Anyone could take 3 medals of any kind and see those combos come to life in the game, even if those combos weren't in the show. Plus, the driver itself had a ton of unused sounds that come from even more medals. Remember, over 100 theoretical combinations with just a group of medals were what we had in the show.
That's
with
insane.
Limitless potential outside of the show. Oh, and the ride vendors are modeled after a Honda Shadow Phantom. That's it. Let's rewind a bit. Remember how I said that O's comes from a king? We get very small glimpses of this King O's. Goto takes his job extremely seriously, so he questions why Kogami has been helping Eiji and Ankh, and that brings Kogami to tell the story of the old king that once used O's power to steal away the greed. Kogami is simply interested in Eiji's potential. Oh look, a Halloween special. That's rare in Toku. Who's this strange guy? He's been around for a while.
This dude, I swear. He is by far in my opinion, when I first saw him, I was afraid of this guy because he was so out of there. He was so out there. He was just like, one, why do you have a doll just sitting on your arm like that? And why are you so emotionally unstable? Like, I mean, look, there are reasons. It reasons in the show. It reveals in the show why he's so emotionally unstable. But like, Jesus, dude, get some help.
Saying that he's merely observing with his weird doll thing. The guy was first seen when a yummy was causing explosions around the city. Those explosions trigger a memory from Eiji, a memory where he saw a little girl die. Well, geez.
Yeah.
To offset that, Kogami wishes a happy birthday to the 10th anniversary of Dr. Maki, the strange man with the doll who's working for the Kogami Foundation. Oh look, it's that frame that became really good fan art. Dr. Maki believes that one's life isn't truly worth anything until it's over, so he hopes for a pleasant end someday. He's also been working on a device that harnesses the power of cell metals so that even a regular human can use it. Speaking of harnessing the power of cell metals, have you ever wanted to be Kamen Rider O's? Well, now you can.
Yes. Yes.
And thanks to the sponsor of this video, the Kogami Foundation.
Say what?
In the city of Futo, there live Shotaro and Philip, two detectives that become the single Kamen Rider double. Along with them is police official Teruri Ryu, Kamen Rider Axel, who is currently getting scolded by his
yeah, it's the
soon-to-be
movie.
wife, Akiko, which can only mean we've reached the crossover for this season. Kamen Rider X Kamen Rider O's and Double, featuring Skull, Movie War Core.
Yep.
These titles are gonna keep getting longer, aren't they?
Yes.
So first off, while I said in the double video that I'd be bringing up this portion, I won't be going too into detail. Mostly because there actually isn't that much to go over since it's really straightforward. We don't spend too much time in the present with the double cast. This is more of a story about Sokichi, Kamen Rider Skull. Hence the featuring Skull part in the movie title. Akiko goes through a journey in past memories to see Sokichi's origin story, how he became Skull, and his love interest. I wouldn't say that this acts as a real epilogue for the series. I don't think it's meant to be a true double finale in general, but it's a cool story about Sokichi. Besides, it is great to see the double cast again for what little time we do get with them. Oh well, like I said, the Skull portion is good. If you want more double content, then it's here. The O's portion is weird. Like all good stories, it starts with Kogami and Cake. This time, the Kogami Foundation is working on reviving Oda Nobunaga. You know, as all big corporations do.
Yeah.
So Nobunaga is revived, but has amnesia. Eiji makes friends with him. Nobunaga turns out to be kind of a jerk. Kogami offers him a device that Maki was working on. More on that later. Nobunaga is figuratively and literally a monster. Eiji defeats him, and then Eiji follows a different pterodactyl monster. I didn't mean to just go through like nothing happened, but almost nothing happened. It's an entertaining story, and I did enjoy it, mostly because the characters are really good. And I will be saying that a lot. Eiji gets to show his characterization by dealing with Nobunaga, who is often seen as this ambitious person that will do anything to gain power, contrasted by Eiji's lack of desire. There's this one scene I love where Eiji says that he's just happy to see blue skies. Aside from that, I'll get to my overall thoughts in a bit because now we have our crossover. Eiji goes to Shotaro and Philip because, as Eiji says, riders help each other out. The pterodactyl monsters have gathered Gaia memories and metals to create Kamen Rider Core, a giant flaming monster that looks like Ichigo for some reason, who is also the final boss of one of the Kamen Rider games. It's really weird.
I want to play one of them games so bad. But because of the fact that a lot of the Kamen Rider games are region locked, I can't experience this greatness. Granted, Master Zen did give me, well, not give me, but he lent me his game, the one that did come out in the US that he had on the Switch. So I appreciate you, Master Zen, for doing that. But it still would have been nice to play these games that I couldn't play that are only in Japan. It's unfair.
Weird out of nowhere, just like in this movie. Together, Double and O's fight to defeat Core. Unfortunately, we don't get a movie-exclusive form. Instead, we get a first look at an upcoming combo.
Yeah. Tajoru.
We also get double Cyclone Joker Gold Extreme again. Ill.
Uh-huh.
The day is saved. Akiko marries Terui while imagining that her dad is by her side, and Eiji ends up in Brazil. Hold on, let me Google that. Hey Siri, is Rio de Janeiro inside Brazil?
Check it out.
Oh, it is. Plus, we get a small tease of the 40th anniversary project. Okay, so this double and nose crossover was okay. So, Skull's portion was interesting,
Ouch!
and I did
My
like
leg.
Sokichi's backstory, but I don't think it was necessary. To me, Sokichi was a cool, hard-boiled character because I didn't know
Always
much
will
about
be.
him. He's not any less cool to me now, though my opinion hasn't changed either. If anything, I feel a little weird that Double's present story was shoved in for the obligatory crossover. Good, but nothing special. I have the same general thoughts about Oz's portion. Nothing special, but good. Eiji's interactions with Nobunaga are great. Other than that, I actually forgot about most of the story right after I finished watching the movie. Maybe that shows how memorable it was. Honestly, the movie isn't exactly a necessary watch because I think it's non-canon, or mostly non-canon, specifically with the O's part. I'm not entirely sure where it would fit with the continuity of the show since Eiji has medals that he normally wouldn't have. The monsters appear in other places too, but Eiji acts like he's never seen them before. And most importantly, where did Ankh get the Tajador medals? Okay, that's probably enough rambling. If you want more Double and O's, then you'll like the movie. If none of this grabbed you, then it's easily missed. Remember when Nobunaga was given a driver? Well, Dr. Maki has been working on that for a while. I even brought it up a bit ago. We see the power suit's blueprints, and Maki believes it needs more tests. Then Kazari says that they should try it anyway. Yeah, it turns out that Maki has been siding with the Greed, as if he wasn't evil this whole time. I mentioned earlier that O's has some episodes where it seems like it has nothing to do with anything, but there are still some sprinkles of important story bits and smaller details. The episodes where it's revealed that Maki is working with the Greed is kinda like that. We're shown a couple of scenes of him and Kazari, then they prepare a plot to hijack one of Kogami's transport vehicles, because inside are 5,000 cell medals, but more importantly, a red core medal. Kazari takes the plan further by kidnapping Hina and hiding her inside the vehicle. One thing leads to another. Ankh and Eiji fall off a high bridge while fighting the Greed. This is a big moment for our heroes, as Ankh makes it known that the only thing he cares about right now are gathering the core medals, but Eiji expresses that Hina should be the bigger priority. It's like they're stuck with each other with no way out, so Eiji's had enough and throws a punch at Ankh. Kazari's main plan was to obtain all the cell and core medals for himself, betraying the rest of the Greed. He launches an attack at Hina, but Eiji and Ankh are here to save her. In a flashback, we see that Eiji promised 1 year's worth of ice cream, plus the willingness to collect the core medals if they save Hina. However, Kazari has been planting core medals into Gamel as an experiment to see how much one vessel can hold. Kogami is well aware of Maki's intentions, but Kogami mentions that Maki's desire is too great to stop. I should probably also mention that this is a Christmas episode. On the first day of Christmas,
and that was crazy. That was great. All that happened in a Christmas episode. You see how much I like Ankh? I like O's. Like, I mean, Ankh and all. I like all of this. I love this. I love this show.
He gave to me 5,000 cell medals plus the fusion of Gamel and Mizul to create this Greed monstrosity. Merry
that's how they
Christmas,
died too.
You're all getting cold this year. Kogami says that this experiment was a failure. It's impossible for one vessel to hold onto all those medals. But where Kogami finds failure, Maki finds success. A man in powered armor enters a scene wearing Maki's other invention. Eiji and this mysterious man defeat the monster. Remember, this is what simping gets you. Then the man behind the armor steps in holding a large milk can filled with medals. He calls himself Kamen Rider Birth.
Ah, my man. Him coming in, I swear, he's the second best character in this show.
Hello everyone, I'm Manpig. If you don't know me, I like tokusatsu. That's all that really matters here.
So do I.
Kamen Rider O's. Where do I even begin? Kamen Rider O's is a series that means a lot to me as a person in so many ways. See, I've been a Rider fan for who knows how many years at this point. But while I've always been aware of the series, catching it here and there as a kid, the first Rider series that truly made me into a fan was Kamen Rider O's. I remember my Japanese friend introducing it to us with our other childhood friends, and we all began role-playing as O's on the playground.
You see, what's crazy? What's crazy is that when I had first encountered O's, the show, I was honestly just browsing Google for real, because when I saw Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, that's part of the okay. Well, they got Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Well, what's the originator from that? Then I saw it. It was Kamen Rider Ryuki, and then I saw this person. I saw this. I saw O's, and I was like, wait, what's this about? And why does he have African colors? So I turned that on, and when I tell you I loved that show, oh my god.
Watching the show and getting excited over the new forms, theorizing what combos would be revealed next, buying all the DX roleplay toys, the Candroids, the figures. It was a fun childhood. Yet, of course, inevitably, I grew up. At one point, I thought I was too old for Rider, as well as splitting ways with my friends in order to form our own lives.
You're never too old for
However,
writers.
One day, while getting back into Japanese media, I dipped back into Rider and eventually slipped back to O's, and when rewatching it, everything flowed back into me all at once. The cool lore of the medals and the greed, the unique powers of O's, the fun gimmicks, the toys, all the stuff that I always loved was still there and were just as good as I remembered it. Nothing had changed, but at the same time, because I was older, I noticed even more. There was so much love for everything. From the suits, the powers, the special effects, the music, and even the references. This was a special series, even the context of Rider itself. But it doesn't rely on the fan service or the toys either.
It
The
doesn't.
writing is just as strong. There's the whole question that the series raises about inner greed of people and whether or not it's really wrong to have that emotion. The characters are all interesting, with their own personalities and motives for doing what they do. Each of the villains were different and distinct, with colors to make them all stand out and be appealing. And Ankh is one of the most interesting and entertaining characters in all of Tokusatsu, in my opinion. The
Facts.
side characters, Goto was a goat. Date, that's a man's man. Koizumi
Facts.
was funny. There was so much I can talk about, but of course, what I really want to talk about is Eiji. Eiji is a character that I don't hesitate to call my favorite Tokusatsu character, and one of my favorite characters of all time, because he, to me, is the truest definition of a hero. He is a simple person
Yeah.
who lives life not worrying about much and is satisfied as long as he has a fresh pair of underpants. He is always positive, thinking on the bright side, and protecting everyone he can. Everyone.
Eiji, he's honestly Good Boy 2.0. He's honestly the golden Good Boy 2.0. Is that along with Kuga? I don't know. It's just something about those kinds of people where like they don't really, and I strive to be those kinds of people because they didn't really need to have everything and be everything in the world. All they wanted was the littlest kind of thing. The littlest kind of thing. And they'll have the most positive energy. They're willing to put themselves on the line for someone else that they don't even know. They have compassion. They have understanding. And of all things, they're involving in Eiji is involving his character is involved in a storyline where it's all about like what he just said, whether or not desire in a human is a good thing to have. And relatively, at the end of it all, is that it actually is good to have. But the thing about it is you have to have control. You have to control your desire and your want for things. Because if you don't, it's going to consume you and it's going to destroy you. That's basically what Kamen Rider O's is. It's all about controlling your desire and what it truly does to you when you lose control of it. Just wanted to say, put my piece into that.
In front of him, he has a desire for the happiness of people. And to me, he shines.
Yeah,
I look up to that mentality. I want to be like that myself.
same.
I look at Eiji, and all I can think of is admiration and the desire to be a person like him. Someone that can go nowhere, but will look forward and save what he can right in front of him so that he can regret nothing. That hits me so hard, and I strive to be like that. If people know me personally, they know O's isn't just my favorite Kamen Rider show, but one of my favorite shows of all time for too many reasons. Like any media, Kamen Rider O's is not a perfect show.
It's
But
not.
to me, O's was a pivotal part of my life, and to this day, makes me aspire to be more. It holds the greatest memories for me. And even though I'm now an adult, when I talk with my old friends about our past, we always agree that, damn, O's was a fantastic show. Even now, O's propels me forward. Eiji's mindset is one I try to adopt as I mature and grow. If I could describe O's in a single word for me, it'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it's so special and irreplaceable to me. A shining beacon that reminds me of everything it showed. And all of that being said, I just wanted to say that I hope that you, the audience, give it a shot and simply enjoy it.
Oh no, facts. For anyone that's watching this right now, if you have not watched Kamen Rider O's, watch Kamen Rider O's. Watch it. I have a friend right now who honestly, I told him to watch W first and then watch O's. Because if you watch W, you're gonna be able to understand like what the premise of Kamen Rider is going to be, and then watch O's and just enjoy it for what it is, because it is a ride. Let me tell you, it is a very long ride. That I just got through talking to him like yesterday, and he just got to the point where they introduced Axel, and he was like, "Holy shit, yo, this guy has no fucking chill." Like, yeah, that's Axel. The man wants revenge. And now, like I told him, that as the series goes on, you're gonna see why he wants revenge, why he's so angry, and it's just like when he gets to finish that, when he sees O's, I know it's gonna blow him away. I know it is, because it's that good. It's just that good, bro.
Enjoy the story, enjoy the lore, the cool toys, the suits, the characters, the love, and the messages.
Right.
Everything that Kamen Rider O's gives. A huge, huge thanks to Marcos for letting me on this special video. I'm not usually this serious online, but O's is just such a special series to me that I couldn't help it.
I hear you.
I
understand.
have a super active Twitter account where I talk about and share opinions on things that I love, which includes tokusatsu, of course, and I do have my own YouTube channel that occasionally uploads anime and visual novel content if you're interested in that. I could, of course, go on and on about how much I love O's, but I think I've taken more than enough spotlight for now. So hopefully, I'll see all of you somewhere else on the internet. And until then, back to the main show.
Eiji and Ankh fight some monsters, but no medals come out of them. Apparently, they're not yummies. The monsters enter a boy, somehow. Then a train appears, along with a blue Kamen Rider.
Yeah, the next
Kamen Rider
crossover.
New Den-O.
Yep.
As teased in the Double and Nose crossover, this is the special 40th anniversary project.
Uh-huh.
Dang it. As teased in the Double and Nose crossover, this is the special 40th anniversary project. Kamen Rider O's and Den-O. Let's go Kamen Riders the movie. In this story, Ankh accidentally leaves behind a cell medal in the year 1971, leading to Shocker gaining enough power to take over the world. Somehow. So it's up to Eiji and Ankh, with the help of Kotaro, Kamen Rider New Den-O, to go on time-traveling shenanigans and defeat Shocker in time for Kamen Rider's 40th anniversary. I don't like this movie. I swear, I've watched it at least
don't like the
3
movie?
times. Well, now 4, counting the watch-through for this video. And I remember basically nothing about it. Shocker teams up with other evil organizations, Imogen shenanigans that I really don't like, multiple tries on getting the medals back, but making it worse each time. Yeah, it almost seems like a whole lot of nothing. There's this one idea that the Kamen Riders of the alternate present were successfully controlled by Shocker, so Eiji fights them for a bit. But my biggest issue is that the movie just drags on for what seems like forever. The main idea is that Eiji and Ankh need to get their cell medal back, but that idea gets stretched out for what seems like 3 hours. There are these other kids that join in. The second attempt at getting the medals introduced them to even more kids. All the kids turn out to be important for the past and present, but that means nothing to me. Okay, maybe saying I don't like this movie is too blunt. If anything, it just really bores me. And you can tell it bores me because I have nothing else to say. A big celebration of 40 years of Kamen Rider? Really? This is the big project? The only returning face actor is Kotoro's and a couple of the other Denliner crew. Everyone else are just voices. No Showa representatives? Ichigo and Nigo showing up only for a couple of minutes? How is this supposed to celebrate the countless stories of Kamen Rider? Even as a standalone story, it gets super repetitive, and I almost can't stand just sitting there waiting for something to happen.
Honestly, real talk, it was long. I'll say that. The movie was long. Where there's a lot of parts that didn't need to be in there, sure. Right? But it was cool to see both of them in the movie and with their respective bikes. It was cool to see that.
One thing I should mention is that yes, this is the first time in a very, very, very long time that Ichigo and Nigo's actors reprise their role. And
Yeah, I figured that.
It's cool. I don't mind. It's awesome. And that would matter more to people watching around this time. But me watching in the modern day after so many crossovers upon crossovers, while I can still appreciate it, it kind of doesn't do much for me. And I know that's kind of a not good sentiment, but I also can't help it. And I think there are a few others who can agree with me on that too.
Let's go.
Well, some more fights and then shenanigans later, Eiji, Ankh, and Kotaro get crucified. Just like classic Kamen Rider. Then Ichigo and Nigo arrive to help. They weren't really brainwashed by Shocker after all, so they and the crowd of civilians save the riders. Even if things look bleak, the Kamen Riders will be there.
Yep, and they all come out. All of them. All of them. Yup. All of them. My man Black and then RX. Yup.
How do Black and Black RX keep showing up together? Owner makes a speech saying that as long as people have justice in their hearts, Kamen Rider will always exist.
I was just getting ready to say, he makes his... One of my most memorable, the one that's all... I was literally remembering that yesterday. When I was thinking about this video, I was like, Marcosatsu has to make this reference because to me, that was the most rewarding speech from this man I will ever remember. As long as people need a writer, Kamen Riders will always be there. And that is the main reason why I love Kamen Riders, is because of that statement right there. I love that. I love this speech.
Then all the main riders, starting from Ichigo, make their big appearances.
Yup. Yes, Blade, Hibiki, Kabuto, Tenno. Yes, Kiva, Decado, Double.
ちょっと待ってな。
O's. I love it. I love it.
Though Owner says that Kamen Riders aren't the only heroes out there.
And the other ones. Bro, the fact that they did this was just insane.
So cool. I really hope they don't update his design in the future. So all the Kamen Riders team up, including the others that forgot to set their morning alarms, and they do the super mega awesome Poggers Kino Swag Rider bike kick that spells out 40, and the day is saved. Now we have an awful rendition of Let's Go Rider Kick by the Kamen Rider girls. I'm just gonna say it, and you may not like it, but I feel like I have to say it. Let's Go Kamen Rider feels like a precursor to the superhero Tyson movies. For one, my feeling...
Hey, first of all, that Let's Go Kamen Rider song for Kamen Rider Girls was my shit. I loved that song, okay? I loved that song. That song was the shit, alright?
really line up where I'm extremely bored for 2/3 of the movie, but the last third is kind of fun. Despite watching this 4 times, I still at least remember having a smile on my face as the crowd chants the names of the writers as they
Of
show up.
course!
Then
Why
seeing
wouldn't
the hasty
you?
ones fight alone and an
Of
announcer says
course!
their names for some reason. Owner with his little speech, Momotaro
Yes.
turning into a sword. The
That shit
really
was funny.
random cameos of the other heroes, and the 40 rider bike kick thing is so incredibly cheesy, but I
love it.
Even
Right,
seeing all the
right.
villains unceremoniously and comically fall into a pit is kind of fun.
And they all
Kotaro
did.
himself finally got a little bit more character, and him having a moment after waiting 40 years for Teddy is a cute moment. Of course, I also can't forget.
Oh yeah, this.
You know what? I'll just say it now. The writers for this season have no bad suits.
They
Taishi
don't!
combo is right up there for me, and keeping the talk ahead is genius. I may not like this movie in general, but I'll gladly rewatch the last third several more times.
Why wouldn't
Maybe
you?
if I don't have to watch the rest of the movie, though. Happy 40th anniversary, Kamen Rider.
Yep. Honestly, in my honest opinion, if they had cut out the portion where it was dragon and just kept everything else, it would have been a better movie. It would have been a better movie. Like I said, yeah, it dragged on. It did drag on with the whole kids shit and everything. But like, if you cut that part out, and some of the parts that were just dragging, cut that out and just loop the first part and then that finale in there, it would be good. It would honestly be good.
Kamen Rider Birth is piloted by Date Akira, who was traveling abroad for a while and is now a paid employee by the Kogami Foundation.
Yes.
Although his main mission isn't exactly to defeat yummies and greed, his job description is to gather as many cell medals as he can.
Yep.
Date's goal is to earn 100 million yen. Maki doesn't want to talk about it, but he didn't choose Date to be Birth's user, and Maki is more bothered that Kogami got to choose the name for his Kamen Rider. One idea for O's was to go for something more mechanical, but that later got moved to the secondary rider, Kamen Rider Birth. That technology idea even went as far as planning a mechanical gear for Birth to transform with, though cell medals were preferred. Then that evolved into gashapons. Medals were put into a vendor, so how about a medal into another kind of machine? Here's a weird piece of trivia. An inspiration for Birth's design was Mechanical Violator Hokkaider. What? Anyways, I always thought Birth looked
Really?
extremely out of place with O's aesthetics. It didn't match our primary writers, it didn't fit any of the greed or yummy design philosophies. Birth was just its own weird anomaly, and I finally realized, yeah, that was the point. Science versus technology, O's versus Birth. O's
Yeah.
has use of ancient relics, Birth uses machines created by the Kogami Foundation.
Right.
Well, so does O's, but you get my point. Even if Birth doesn't fit the aesthetics, he looks really friggin' cool. You guys know, I love sleek and shiny things. Birth is so modern, so handsome, so I want to lick Kamen Rider Birth.
I already peed.
Whoa, 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 oh, oh, whoa, hey. Nah, cut that out, dog. Cut that out, dog. Cut that out, dog. We gonna have to edit that out. We gonna have to edit that out.
On him.
Is that why he
Whoa,
tasted
whoa.
so rusty?
Hey, whoa, sir. Ah.
Just everything about Birth looks great. Even the weapons, and I'm not the biggest
That
weapon
took
guy.
me off so
His
bad.
gun thing
I
that
was-
uses
I wanna do a
metals,
transformation.
banger. Using those metals to get other tools like a gachapon machine.
No, hold on,
minty.
because
It's so rusty.
because
That uses
wait a minute.
Birth is It's so rusty.
Hold up. We gotta do it. Cling. Yeah.
Just everything about Birth.
Yeah.
looks great. Even the weapons, and I'm not the biggest weapon guy. His gun thing that uses metals, a banger. Using those metals to get other tools like a gachapon machine, extra minty. Having an in-helmet shot like Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's so good. And Goto got fed up with Kogami, so Goto got a job at the restaurant. Yay. More importantly, Kogami has a gift for Eiji, a red core medal he found during his travels. Now Ankh, Eiji, and Kazuri each hold a red medal.
Oh, wow.
In this arc, Ankh seemingly betrays Eiji and throws him off a building, making a deal with Kazuri to trade his red medal for all the core medals that Eiji holds. Of course, Hina doesn't take lightly to that and steals Ankh's medal, though Ankh basically keeps her hostage for the time being. Meanwhile, Date goes to the restaurant to see Goto, but Date also notices a photo of Eiji, starting to recognize him from somewhere. Date starts to feel for Goto, so they go out shooting with the birth gun. Goto has been with the Kogami Foundation for a while, constantly taking orders just so he could reach the top and do something more. But now he doesn't feel right even in trying out anything birth related. Date eggs him on to take one shot, but that single shot knocks Goto back. Sure, Goto may have been trained, but it's gonna take a lot more than that to keep up. A Yummy yells out, marking the time for our heroes to meet it. Eiji was rescued from the river and knows that Ankh isn't exactly a good person, bird thing, but at least he knows that Ankh will be there when there's a medal to grab. Ankh and Eiji get ready for the fight ahead, as Satonaka arrives with a gift from Kogami, a red medal from earlier. Combined with Ankh's medal, Eiji gets access to the Tajador combo. Wow, a final form only halfway through the show? Who knew O's was so innovative? I joke, but more on that later. Yeah, I know. After the battle, Ankh absorbs the 3 red core medals, gaining a CGI feather. Episodes later, a new type of Yummy appears, one that looks like Ankh would have made, a bird-type Yummy. Date and Goto are weary towards Ankh, but Eiji believes that Ankh is different and there must be a reason this bird Yummy appeared at all. Although, even Maki and the other Greed have no idea where this Yummy came from either. Speaking of Maki, he's been keeping a close eye on Chiyoko, who looks suspiciously like his sister who died a long time ago. Date fights the bird Yummy and brings out the big guns. He summons all of Birth's tools to gain a new super form called Birthday. That was such a dumb joke name that even Bandai didn't think the form would make it into the show, and it was only meant as a toy-exclusive form.
Oh, wow.
It should be obvious, but all those props on Birthday made it hard to move, so that's why it barely moves at all.
Wow.
My friend Dallas also sends me the picture of Birthday every time it's my birthday, and it makes me facepalm every time. It turns out that Ankh didn't make the Yummy. Ankh even says himself that he's not interested in making more Greeds or Yummies. He just wants to be complete. With that, Kogami wishes a happy birthday, and we see a red arm watching Ankh and Eiji. The 40th anniversary of Kamen Rider isn't the only thing O's celebrates, because this next arc officially marks 1,000 episodes of Kamen Rider! Yay. Kogami wants to make a movie to celebrate this milestone, so he has a cast of O's film a movie. Yeah, that's about it. I was so ready to talk about these episodes like I would talk about a movie or special, but I don't know what else to say other than
I kind of want them
the
shorts.
Heck? A shocker mook named Mook decides to crash their movie for revenge on Kamen Rider for beating them all these episodes. Then the rest is just shenanigans. I really don't know what else to say, but they're fun at the very least. Absolutely watch them and see the wackiness unfold.
Hey, yo.
To this day, I still remember Goto's head becoming a rock. I could be out one day and think to myself about Rockhead Goto. Happy
I
1,000
forgot
episodes,
about
Kamen
that
Rider.
part.
Eiji wakes up one morning and notices that Ankh is missing. After some thinking, Eiji realizes that someone or something is taking over Ankh's power, which is why he's only an arm. Meanwhile, Kazuri creates a Yummy from Maki, whose desire is affection and the need for compassion. Maki gets hurt trying to control a Yummy, so Chiyoko goes out to help him. Eiji tries to fight this Yummy, but then a new familiar face appears, a bird Greed from Ankh's other half. Maki invites Chiyoko over when Maki remembers something sinister. Now we get a lot of exposition thrown at us, so bear with me since I've been going back and forth a lot. Goto tried to get his job back at the Kogami Foundation, but the only position available was as Satonaka's assistant. Then Goto immediately tries to find answers about O's and gets caught by Kogami.
Oh, wow.
Ankh is in need of medals after an encounter with his lost half, so Date offers some cell medals in exchange for information. Kogami and Ankh tells us the story of a king from 800 years ago, who used O's power for the wrong purposes, but one Greed, Ankh fought beside him. The king went berserk and activated every cell metal, causing the metals and greed to be sealed away.
Yeah.
Ankh sent out his arm, mummifying the rest of his body. Kogami later found all these relics and was the one to awaken Ankh's lost body by taking his metals. Back with Maki, he starts to reminisce about his dead sister. She was so happy and carefree. She even gave Maki a doll before her wedding. Maki thought she was the best sister ever. He thought she was the best. He realized that he was only suppressing a dark memory. His sister wasn't a sweet angel. He actually hated her, and eventually caused a fire that killed her. The image he had of his sister was just an illusion, a made-up desire that didn't exist. With that, Maki kills his research from the Foundation and teams up with Agreed. Maki and Agreed set their new base at Maki's house, and he brought something from the Foundation, a container holding 10 purple core metals. During a battle against the Yummy, the purple metals fly out towards Eiji. He falls down, and his eyes glow purple. He seems to be okay, though Maki and Kazuri question why the metals flew towards Eiji at all, and Date warns Eiji to not use any combos or else he'll go berserk like the old king. Earlier I said that the O's portion of Double and O's is mostly non-canon, and this is one of the reasons why. The two pterodactyl monsters show up again, but everyone acts like this is the first time they've seen them. Eiji gets hurt during the battle against these... Greed? Yummy? I keep calling them generic monsters because I can't tell if they're greed, because they show that they're a lot brighter than a regular Yummy, but there are multiple of the same kind like a Yummy? Hold on, let me check. Oh, they are Yummy. What? Date patches up Eiji and scolds him for—
I would say they're more advanced Yummies. Like, they're not the mummified version, but they're still Yummy. Like, cause he, you know how you was saying that, like, it's a different, like, for each greed is a different kind of Yummy and everything. So for that instance, it's still a Yummy. It's just a different kind of Yummy, just like the rest of them.
not being careful with his own life, something multiple characters have already scolded Eiji for. Date tells a story of how he recognized Eiji in the first place. Despite being a homeless wanderer, Eiji actually comes from a rich background as his family were politicians. One day in Africa, Date was on doctoring duties when he saw Eiji escorted back by some men in suits. Earlier that day, Eiji risked his life to save a village and a little girl from an explosion, but ended up being the only survivor due to his parents' wealth. After that, Eiji's family only used him to further their political agenda, without caring what Eiji just went through or how he felt. That is why Eiji was left with no desires.
Yep.
Then Kogami shows up unannounced to explain that Eiji's lack of desire is exactly why the purple metals took control of him. Those purple metals come from extinct animals whose desire were...
Nothing.
So they took Eiji as a vessel to run rampant, just like old dinosaurs would. During a battle with the dinosaur yummies, Eiji sees a little girl, reminding him of the girl he couldn't save before. Hina notices that Eiji is always there to reach out to help, but who's gonna reach out to him? Eiji is about to be attacked until the purple metals within him force themselves into the Yo's driver, creating a new combo.
And then this happens.
This is the Tira combo. What? Huh? Tira. Totira. Oh, Tira. In Spanish, the first part of Tira is a swear.
Puta.
Anyway, this is the Puto Tira combo. I can't believe O's did the boring thing and debuted the final form around episode 30, just like how all the other forms debuted. Lame. This form was meant to have a sense of dread and power, as Eiji goes berserk within and isn't able to control his actions. Plus, the suit and metals weren't intended to be able to mix and match, especially with the toys, since the Putotira parts would have been too heavy, though the Gone Bride game did allow you to mix these metals. At one point, the toys were gonna talk too, kinda like Kivat from Kiva, but that would have clashed with Ankh. And one final piece of trivia, the combo was originally going to be Triceratops, Pterodactyl, and Tyrannosaurus.
Really?
It made more sense that Terra was the head compared to the Taka head. Eiji also gets a brand new... Did he just grab that from the ground?
Yes, he did.
It's probably super dirty, but that was really cool. From here on comes Oz's last arc. Some Heisei Phase 2 seasons are split into several arcs and chapters, so in a way you could say that the seasons have seasons. And that kind of makes them easier to watch knowing that they have a similar structure to anime. For O's, episodes 1 through 16 story arc is called The Revive of Greed, The Birth of O's, and The Scramble of Metals.
Right.
Episodes 17 through 38 is The Man of 100 Million, The Other Ankh, and The Purple Metals. Now we're entering episode 39 through 48, The Bond of Allies, The End of the World, and The Greed Towards Tomorrow. Well, we're not exactly entering the last arc just yet, because O's is a show I think anyone can watch, just like Double, except O's is probably the easiest to watch as it has the best mix of anything you can imagine in Kamen Rider. The darker storytelling, the good chunk of humor, a great cast of characters, and of course some of the best TV action you'll see. Which is why it pains me to say that I'm gonna skip talking about the ending. Just kidding, I'm doing that next season.
What?
For now, we have O's standalone movie, Kamen Rider O's Wonderful, The Shogun and the 21 Core Medals. That's kind of a cool title. As all great stories begin, Kogami is out doing Kogami
And there's this
things,
movie.
and this time, he unleashes a magic power that takes over Japan. Oh, that darn Kogami. What wouldn't he do? Now, Eiji and Ong travel in the past, present Edo era and figure out the mysteries of a strange tower and the origins of the medals. I like this movie. Once again, I don't have much else to say. I swear, I can talk about movies and specials for hours, but O's side content is either just okay or just good enough that I can't really add much. There's this part where Ankh and the Yummy's arms fight. I've always wanted to see more hand-to-hand fights. Then Eiji gets a new combo from that guy from the Bat Ride Ward games. Eiji also gets to pilot Birth for a bit. Oh look, cameos galore, and even an early bird look at Kamen Rider Forze.
Forze, yup.
And there's this clip where Eiji uses Gata Kiriba to transform into Gata Kiriba, and all his other forms too. Though I can't show all of it cause copyright.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
みんな家族だもん。
Yeah, the movie is good. Oh man, I almost forgot to talk about the net movies.
他のシリーズにないオーズの特徴、それはこの俺、アンクだ。
俺なんて
Uncle.
アンクがいないと変身もろくにできない。
Transform without
なん
Ankh.
かエイジがいなきゃメダル1枚集める。
What?
ひなさんをお嫁さんにください。
Huh?
エイジ君。
でもそのお父さんはジェネラルシャドウだった。待て。
Why have I not seen these? Why have I not seen these? Like, what?
仮面ライダーシザーズ。
Show me your underwear. Whoa, edgy.
本番は本物のアイス用意して入んなよ。
These are okay. How about the
Oh
Hyper Battle
my
video?
god.
That's a cool combo. I said combo with a K there. You can't see it, but in my script I wrote it with a K.
Okay.
カンガルーパンチ。ライダーオーズ。カンガルーレッグ。
Wow.
レッグ。
Okay, that's enough. Back to the show. You probably noticed in the movie clip that Mizul and Gamel are back. That's
Oh, yeah,
because
they did
Uva,
come back.
Who's been
Yeah.
hiding out this whole time, revived them. So now that we're nearing the end, you might be wondering why Date has been trying so hard to get 100 million yen. Goto did some research and found a scan of Date's head, showing that Date has a small bullet stuck inside of him, and Date has been feeling its effect for a while now, often losing consciousness. Date joins forces with Maki and they agree to fight O's, but after a battle, he seems as though he's not long for the world. He tells Goto to believe in himself, so Goto steps out with the birth driver and transforms.
Oh, I love this part.
That also turns out that Date is okay. Kogami gives Date his final payment of 50 million yen. Combine that with the other 50 million that Maki gave him earlier, and Date's desire for 100 million yen is reached. Date says goodbye, but Goto knows they'll meet again. One of Eiji's obstacles is Maki, who's trying to get the purple medals for himself, and his doll is T-posing to assert dominance. Maki explains that they're both turning into breeds, and Eiji connects that they're starting to lose their senses. They can barely see, sounds are distorted,
Oh my gosh.
and they can't taste anything. That's why Ankh was so obsessed with ice cream. It was something he could feel. I know I've been skipping out on Lost Ankh, though that's because he's just there for the most part. I mean, he's cool, and I like his arc, but there's not much else I could have brought up other than he's unknowingly evil, which is a neat concept. So anyway, Lost Ankh is absorbed into our Ankh, making him whole again, and Ankh repays Eiji by betraying him and siding with the other greeds. Oh, that Ankh, what won't he do? One by one, the greed are taken out by Eiji. Kazuri falls first, as Maki fully turns into a greed and breaks Kazuri's main core. Goto's driver nearly got destroyed in an earlier battle, so Kogami exchanges it with a prototype version of the birth driver. They're basically the same thing, but it only comes with a couple of weapons. Eiji and Goto defeat Mizul, but then Eiji gets knocked out by Gamel and wakes up at a beach. Ankh goes to the restaurant one more time, remembering the moments he's had with Eiji and Hina. Ankh wishes he could keep Shingo's body, but Hina says no. So Ankh morbidly says that only one of them will come back. Goto races to stop Gamel next, getting back his fixed driver. But then a familiar face steps in.
My man. Yes.
Date returns as Kamen Rider Proto Birth, and alongside Goto, they defeat Gamel for good. Meanwhile, Ankh sees Eiji at the beach, not allowing Eiji to take back the O's driver. Eiji's had enough and threatens to destroy Ankh too. Now Ankh says he's found a new desire. Ankh doesn't want to just become full or a human, he wants life. Eiji understands, but he can't let Ankh do it this way. In Eiji's words, Ankh wants life, but doesn't understand how precious it is. They fight on the beach, with Eiji slowly losing control and having purple eyes as O's. Though Eiji will never forget their times together, and he hasn't forgotten about his promise about 1 year's worth of ice cream. Eiji brings out his underwear to give Ankh ice cream money for the day. As random as Maki says Bob Marley, Maki no longer has any need for Ankh and cracks his core medal. Kogami congratulates Eiji on finally having a desire, as Eiji realized that his true desire was to have power so he can save people. As a gift, Kogami gives Eiji a near limitless supply of cell medals, and as for Uva, Maki gives Uva all the core medals he has, just in time for the final battle. Episode 48, Medals for Tomorrow, Underwear, and Medals to Reach Out With. Eiji has accepted Kogami's gift. Now Eiji is almost unstoppable, as Kogami had one more present, the original 10th medals used by King O's. Now Eiji has the true power of Tatoba. Wow, O's was given his final form in the last episode? Kuga did it first. Now Ankh is here, just because he wants some ice cream. Eiji, Ankh, and Hina have one more night together, though Eiji doesn't know that Ankh is running short on time. Hina has a feeling that Eiji is prepared to go on another adventure soon. Date and Goto exchange a few words of wisdom, and Kogami says,
What is it with this man's fixation on birthdays, bro? Lord have mercy.
A new day. With all those medals inside him, Uva turns into a literal vessel for the rest of the core medals. Goto and Date fight the yummies that are running rampant, all while Kogami bakes a cake. Then
Hold on. Let me... Yeah, we good. Alright, just checking.
Naka joins their fight too. Eiji faces his final confrontation with Maki, unleashing all the cell medals Kogami gave him. No, that isn't enough, so Ankh offers the last thing he has. Eiji and Ankh fly into the vessel together, defeating Maki and destroying all the medals. As Eiji falls to Earth, Ankh says that he feels like he's lived a life, now that he knows the sensation of death.
お前が掴む腕はもう俺じゃないってことだ。
Eiji and Hina each hold a piece of Ank's broken metal. With that, Hina, Date, Goto, Satonaka, and Chioko all reach out their hands to help Eiji.
Happy birthday!
Bro!
Hiroichi!
Give it a rest! Give it a rest. Yo, your whole building is destroyed. Stop celebrating birthdays. I love this man.
During the credits, we see Shingo dropping off Hina. We catch glimpses of two students with one holding onto a switch.
Yep.
Goto is working as a detective. Date is back to being a doctor. Kogami bakes a cake. And Eiji's friends meet up at the restaurant to say hi as Eiji travels the world. Eiji holds onto Ank's broken metal, hoping to meet him again someday. A few months later, a meteor falls from space, and it gains the attention of a few people, as well as Foundation X. This meteor creates a distortion in time and space, allowing a Kamen Rider from the future to arrive. Date, Goto, and Eiji, and a returning Ankh, fight off this Kamen Rider Poseidon.
MC!
But
yeah.
now they have multiple mysteries to solve, including how Ankh got revived. Eiji notices that Poseidon is controlling a civilian, so Eiji reaches out to help. The civilian is named Miharu. He comes from a future where the Yomis are too strong for his own Kamen Rider powers, but more importantly, Miharu's afraid of water. So an old Kogami gives him a new belt.
Happy birthday!
We learn that all
Even as his old ass is still celebrating birthdays. His old ass. Where is it at? Where the picture
make
at?
sure he's got it.
Where the
make
picture
sure-
at? Where the picture at?
So an old Kogami gives him a new belt.
Happy birthday!
Your old ass. Again, I'm not hating on this man. If I could, I would get this man to celebrate my birthday because I know it would be lit.
We learn that all the core metals that were supposedly destroyed along with Maki were sent to the future and gained sentience,
Oh,
creating
wow.
Poseidon. Eiji tells Miharu about his grandpa's words. A man never knows when he might die, so you should make sure he's got a clean pair of underwear. Sure, it's funny taken literally, but it's supposed to mean that it's important to look forward to tomorrow. Ankh and Eiji go out to face a now separated Poseidon. Plus, there's this cool slow-mo transformation. Then we see Miharu fight on a jet ski, transforming into Kamen Rider Aqua.
Yup. Uh-huh.
A few super cool awesome poggers jet ski flips later, and Poseidon is defeated. Ankh disappears too, though Eiji figures that something was off since Ankh's metal was still broken. It turns out that this Ankh must have come from the future, so Eiji takes that to mean they've successfully revived Ankh, and is hopeful to see him again one day. Thus ending Kamen Rider O's.
Kamen Rider O's この後すぐ
Kamen Rider O es una serie que siempre quedará en mi corazón. Me dejó muchas enseñanzas que me han
I normally don't like bringing up future seasons by name, which is why I always say, quote-unquote, in a future season, instead of a direct title.
Right.
Because I keep these videos in a chronological playlist and try to talk generally instead of assuming everyone who watches these videos already knows what happens in every single Kamen Rider season. Though this time, it just felt right to talk about Oza's epilogue. At the very least, there's more to say here than there is for the Kamen Rider Skull portion, and I'll briefly bring up Oza again in the Forze video. Avoiding basically everything else, I really love this ending. It feels like a true wrap-up for Oza's story, while leaving it just open enough for crossovers in the future. And it tells a really good story featuring a new evil Kamen Rider, all within what feels like just one episode of the show. It goes from point A to point B to point C fairly quickly, but it didn't feel that way. It genuinely felt like a feature-length film with all those slow moments, those quick twists, and the mysteries surrounding the metals. Plus, seeing Ankh again and finding out he's from the future just tugged at my heartstrings. Weirdly enough, while I do like Ankh's and Eiichi's relationship, I'm not super crazy about it like some people, but that part of the movie was really good. Everything about Megamax is fantastic, though I'll gush about that in the next season. For now, O's is just fantastic. Oh yeah, almost forgot that O's gets a gift from the future later in the movie.
Yep, Hyper O's. Super O's, basically. Yep.
Wow. O's is so innovative that it premiered its final form in a movie. Just like never. Okay, so it's come to that time, huh? My turn to talk about the final form debate. I used to say the term Saishu power-up.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one is really the final form?
The term isn't final form, but Saikyo form, which means
the strongest
form. Thanks for the tweet beyond the subtitles. Shinichiro Shirakura also said something similar, where Toei designates them as Saishu power-up, also meaning strongest form. However, Shirakura later said that the final power-up is not always equal to the strongest form.
Oh, okay.
Then goes to mention Deno's liner form. To add to this, the words strongest and final aren't meant to be taken literally, just like how the word new doesn't have the same strong and direct connotation in Japanese as it would in English. With that in mind, I've said before that I really didn't like using final form as a term, mostly because I just knew it would cause a lot of debate and would be taken way too literally, though I'll keep saying final form since it's the most known term and it's easy to follow, for the most part. I joked throughout this video when certain forms came up that they were considered final for the debate, those being Tatoba, Tajador, Kototira, and Super Tatoba. I think a few others also consider Buddha Kawami, but I think that's a joke. I hope that's a joke. I kid you not, I had about 5 pages dedicated to this final form debate, and I was prepared to go in detail about every single possible angle, but I'll cut it short. A final form is whatever Toei says it is. Doesn't matter if it's a base form, has some significance to the character, or appears in a movie. Toei has put out several official lineups and artwork that showcased all final forms.
Facts.
And Oz's has always been Putotira. I'm with you all who prefer Tajador. It makes the most sense, and it just looks really cool. But Putotira also has the main Heisei Phase 2 formula, being debuted and marketed at around episode 30. Heck, I'd even prefer Super Tatoba, but like Shirakura said earlier, final is different than strongest. The biggest argument for all of these is the special episode in Kamen Rider Wizard and a new pattern in the Reiwa era. However, that Wizard special was literally a one-time thing, and it also showed different other kind of forms. If I had a nickel for every time that Wizard episode was brought up and nothing else, I probably wouldn't be making YouTube videos anymore. The Reiwa thing is just to make extra money.
Basically.
Meaning those are extra forms. And just like Tajador, the literal last form seen in the show doesn't mean it's the final form. If a certain form appears in the future, then it's up to the writer and storyteller, but that doesn't change what Toei says. Just like when suit actor Seiji Takaiwa even considers Tajador the strongest form. Again, that doesn't change much. I'd love to argue with Toei, but if they say it's Putotira, then it's Putotira.
It's Putotira.
And to put the real nail in the coffin for Tajador, Shirakura said that they call forms that appear before the final form intermediate power-ups, or what we refer to as super forms. Then there's a design doc saying that Tajador was always intended to be the intermediate power-up.
Really?
Not the Saikyo power-up, not the final form.
Wow.
Not the strongest form, just a super form. Let's talk about something fun. How about that music?
Oh, yes. We had to talk about the music. First of all, the opening theme is goated. Goated. A black man is in the theme for this song. I love it. For those of you who haven't watched it, please go look up Kamen Rider O's theme and see if you can find the music video to that, because yes, the black man is in there. Yes.
There's a lot of ska on its OST.
There it is right there. Thank you, Marcosatsu.
Anything goes.
Yep.
I always really liked this theme. It's probably the pinnacle of fun for a writer's
It's
opening,
beautiful.
and I can't get enough of those trumpets. Plus, how can you not constantly hear "You count the medals 1, 2, and 3" throughout the day? Life goes on, anything goes, coming up O's. Oh, that's just so much fun. There's another version where AG sings too. Alright, that's probably enough before I get copyright claimed.
Yeah.
I only wish this could be played live more often.
No, for real
cool
though.
Thing I find about the vocal music is that there's a song for every combo.
Yes.
And they're all sung by AG's actor, Shu Watanabe. Along with the man behind the O's driver voice, Akira Kushida. First, we have Tighten Up, the insert theme for Tatoba. This is the most played insert theme in the show, but not that much more than the others, which is one reason why I like it. Tighten Up doesn't overstay its welcome, and I love the way Tatoba is sung. The chorus is my favorite part.
Now play, gotta keep it real.
Real for Gatakiriba.
Bro, when I tell you I was listening to that for the past few days, I was listening to that and Rato Rato's theme, the Right on Right Time. Oh, I love them themes.
My least favorite, but it's still really good. The vocal melody is nice.
Oh,
and it's actually
love
really
those
catchy.
themes, bro.
Now we have Right on Right Time, Rato Rato's theme.
Come on. Rato Rata. Right on my.
I just love Akira Kushida's voice. I've even brought him up a few times in other videos. He and Shu Watanabe really knock it out of the park.
Yes, they really
the
do.
energy is great, and the instruments are showing what they can do. Sun
Yes.
goes up, so goes those songs.
Goza.
You can probably tell by now that the song names are meant to sound similar to the combo title.
Yes.
Sun goes up,
They fit.
Sun goes up.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a stretch, but it's the intention. As for this one, it's okay. Not my least favorite though. I think it blends in too much with the others. Shout out for Shouta. This is the one where the instruments are nearly at their best.
And it
Kushida's
fits the water
vocals are
theme,
so
too.
Fun. Well,
Yeah.
all the vocals are fun in this. It might even be my second favorite. Power to Terror, Putatira's theme. Kushida's voice is at its best here, as there's some great back and forth between him and Watanabe. Then their voices combine in the chorus, and it's just so good.
Yes,
Definitely time to
goated,
shout out.
goated.
But of course,
But this one,
nothing can beat. Yeah, you were all waiting for this one. Time Judged All, Tajador's theme. Now we have both Eiji and Ankh singing. It's absolute perfection.
Yes,
All
it
the
is.
compliments I made
For those of you who do not understand this, please go and listen to Time Judged All. Please. For the sake of this video, for the sake of your sanity, just watch the music video. The music video, that shit is rocking. I'm gonna say that right now. It's rocking.
For the other songs are at their peak here. The vocals, the instruments,
Yes.
the energy, and the lyrics are fantastic.
Absolutely
Not to mention the anniversary
fantastic.
version made for a later season, but I'll leave that for you to hear. Oh, we still have quite a bit to go. Time Judged All is my favorite of the combo songs, but Reverse Rebirth, Daten Goto's theme, has to be my second favorite overall. It's more traditional with that classic rider rock sound with some added electronics, cause, you know, birth, but being
Gotta
sung
love
by
it.
their actors just adds that much more flavor,
Uh-huh.
especially if you pay attention to the lyrics.
Yes.
And it's catchy. There's a version of Anything Goes that has piano and strings. It plays
Oh, yeah,
during
I
Eiji
did hear
and
that
Hina's
one.
last night together.
Uh-huh.
It almost made me cry. Almost.
And then you
I also
got
want to mention this
the
one just 'cause
instrumentals.
It's cool. It's the song used for AJ's debut in the Double movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's all. And we're still not done. At least, it's what I would say, because I wanted to bring up the movie themes too, but I don't like any of them. Except for Ole. But here are the others, just in case. While we're on the subject of sounds, I
yes.
want to bring up more henshin sounds. O's eventually got the CSM treatment and came with new combos, including a full-on jingle for Poseidon's combo.
What? Why have I not seen this yet? Why have I not seen this yet? I need...
And here are the other new combos.
Hold up, is that... Oh, hold up, wait. Is that... Okay, so is that a lobster? Lobster or shrimp? It looks like a... It's a lobster. So lobster, crab, scorpion? What? Hold on. Deer, gazelle, and... Is that a cow? Wow. Hold on. Centipede. I believe there's a bee. Yeah, bee. And an ant? What? Why did we not get these combos? Why did we not get these combos? Okay, and that is... Oh, okay, so it's polar themed. So walrus, polar bear, and penguin. Oh, that's so nice. What?
The DX belt actually had some unused sounds too, though those didn't have combo jingles, just singular metal sounds. For the record, my 3 favorite jingles are Tamashi, Shigazashi, and Tajador, Ankh version, with my least favorite being Burakawami. Oh yeah, let's have that be the question of the video. If you made it this far, then you deserve a core medal. As for the question, what's your favorite combo, whether it's by suit or by jingle? Tell me your favorite.
It's Rato Rata. Honestly, it's Rato Rata. I can't... It's something about that suit and then the theme I love more than anything. It's Rato Rata.
It's in the comments. Speaking of unused things in O's, here's O's, or Hexa O's, spelled with 6 O's. Have fun going down that rabbit hole. If there's one thing that I really want to praise about O's, like the absolute best part of it, is the acting, though that also goes hand in hand with the writing. I think O's is the best acted season in the Kamen Rider franchise. Yeah, there are other great shows, but I think O's has the best possible range for everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone. Even the civilians of the week are pretty good. Heck, Ankh is like never out of character.
No,
even
ever.
in the music videos.
Yes.
One cute detail is in the OOO music video where Ankh doesn't want to sing or dance. Then when AG forces him to at least stand, Ankh reaches out his hand a couple times but smirks to try to look like he didn't just get rejected. He's not directly in the center of the camera, he's off to the side a little, but it's the details that I really love. That's just the music video. Ankh has all these quirks in every scene he's in. Oh, like in the Hyper Battle video, when they do the dance and Ankh never smiles but reluctantly dances anyway.
Right.
It might be an exaggeration, but I can't think of a single frame, let alone a single...
The man kept in character the entire time. The man was in character the entire time. He deserves his flowers. I mean, he did get his flowers, but he deserves more flowers.
Single scene or episode where Ankh isn't out of character. Of course, the praise goes beyond just acting. Ankh as a character is great. Yes, he's a perfect antithesis to our heroic Eiji, but Ankh as a bird person is fantastic. I'll admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ankh in my first watch through since, well, he seemed like a jerk, though he had the most development as a character, which changed my mind a lot. Yeah, Ankh is brash and snobbish, but he's also lost and did get betrayed by King O's.
Yeah.
Plus the other greed
So,
aren't
he was
exactly-
hurt. Like the dude was hurt. He honestly, he was hurt at the fact that he got betrayed. So he had this whole attitude where like he just did not care. He only wanted to care for himself. But in the end of it, he couldn't do it. He really couldn't do it because he honestly he liked Eiji so much. He liked Eiji a lot. He couldn't just turn on Eiji all the way because he knew Eiji was a good person, even regardless. Especially during that fight, that last fight that they had in the water.
friendly either, so after being locked away for 800 years, who knows how Ankh would react to the modern world. That's not including any novelization details since I don't cover the books, but even then, Ankh's backstory is really tragic. The part where Eiji realized that Ankh liked ice cream so much because it's the first thing he actually tasted, oh man, that was a fantastic revelation. Although, the saddest thing for me was when Ankh had to sell out and use Apple products in order to pay for his ice cream addiction.
Hey,
All
yo!
his friends sat him down for an intervention, but not for him. They all just wanted Kogami to stop baking so many cakes. Can someone make fan art of that? Anyway, I think
my
everyone
God.
remembers and enjoys the fight on the beach near the end.
Yes,
when
I
Eiji
did.
and Ankh finally had enough of each other but realized that they do need to stick together.
Yeah.
Ankh pours out his feelings for once. Eiji starts to get a desire, and then they fight side by side. The only thing that can make the moment any more powerful is if Ankh asks,
Who else will I have ice cream with?
and now for Eiji. Eiji. Yeah, this is why I like to make this video series. I can go back and wonder what the heck was wrong with my young oblivious opinions. I thought nothing of Eiji. Not a bad main writer, but not a good one either.
Oh,
that
wow.
was absolutely wrong. I
No,
will
he.
say this
If
lightly.
anything, Eiji is the staple of what, and like what that other dude just said. Eiji is the staple of what a writer, a superhero should be. Like for real. He is the epitome of what a hero should be. And the sad thing is he died like one.
No, Eiji is now my favorite main writer. Well, not counting Haruka from Amazon's, but that's different. I have this bias where my favorite writer list is basically nothing but secondaries. Not this time. Eiji skyrocketed to my top 5. I'd even say my top 3. Why? How do I put this? He's a perfectly balanced character inside and out.
Yes.
Early in my watch, I often question the, for the lack of a better term, Eiji worship. It's always about Eiji. Hina and Date always worry about him. What about Ankh? What about Hina herself? Eiji isn't the center of the universe. Everyone always tells Eiji to worry about himself for once. Yeah, I get it. He's No, wait. Eiji does need to think about his own ambitions. Of course, he's our benevolent protagonist, but he's being unrealistically selfless, even for Toku standards. Then his backstory was revealed. Eiji chose to be a wanderer, leaving behind his old life, when his prior heroic actions left a village and a girl dead, literally in front of him. I think that'll leave anyone without desire. The people with the biggest smiles often feel the most sadness. Yeah, I think Eiji is my favorite primary writer. And
think about it. Honestly, think about it. Before that incident happened, he was at his happiest. He the overarching theme for Eiji is like he wanted to help people. He wanted to be around people and make them smile. And when that little girl died from that war, he was broken inside. Remember, and the conflict with his parents didn't make it any better. That only just doubled down, confirmed, and simplified his reasoning for being the way he is. He didn't want his parents' lifestyle. He didn't want to live that way up as the son of a politician. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want the money. He cared zero shits for money. As you could plainly see when all he had was pocket change in his underwear, bro. Like, the dude is the epitome of just give me the littlest thing and I'm good.
definitely in my top 3 now. He may not have a catchphrase.
And like the one thing that and I'm gonna say this right now, and I know this is a long video, but I don't give a fuck. The main thing that I always wanted in life is to have this kind of mentality where like, cause everybody wants to have the car, the house, this, that, and the third. Well, who made that staple? Who made that a fucking rule? You don't necessarily need a car. You don't necessarily need a house. You need someplace to live, but you don't need all this big shit. You don't. And it's like he just said, or what as you said in that movie Core special, or that special featuring Comrade Aqua. A man never knows when it's his time to die. So you always have something little to look forward to for tomorrow. For those of you who did not catch that, that is a powerful message. Because we don't know. We don't know if we're going to live or we're going to die tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to die right now. But I have something little to look forward to for tomorrow. So that way, you know what I'm saying? I'm not leaving behind any regrets, any big things. I'm living as I am now in the best way I can. With no regret. And I'm doing the right thing and it's making me feel full. That's what, in my honest opinion, that's what Eiji represents. It's just doing the best you can and seeking fulfillment in that and not expecting all this big shit and not expecting people to overly care about you and this, that, and the third. With little stuff that just and enjoy the little stuff that you get, the little increments, the little pieces, and just be grateful for that. Eiji is a grateful character. He's a grateful character, a humbling character, a humbled character.
I don't count. Say yeah, but he'll always reach out to help. I know I didn't bring up any negatives, though I do wish there were a couple changes or additions, most notably with Hina. She has the most potential for a character, especially as a writer girl, but I don't know. I don't think she's bad, far from it. I just wish there was a bit more to her. And I'm not talking about explaining her super strength or making her into an actual writer, cause I don't need that. I mean something like, give her as much importance as Eiji. Hina is the glue in the relationship, and she's absolutely fantastic as a friend and emotional support. Though I think she deserved a few more focus episodes, and not the ones with Shingo. Aside from that, I do like Hina, definitely up there in my favorite writer girls and overall cast members. I often put Eiji, Ankh, and Hina in the same grouping, as well as Date, Goto, and Satonaka, since the latter three share one brain cell and it's usually with Satonaka. When I mentioned before that it took a bit of time for the birth suit to grow on me, that included Date too. He has this kind of fatherly yet cool demeanor around him, like he's teaching lessons to Goto and Eiji, although Date is another one of those secondaries that I think are just good, and his gimmick of wanting 100 million yen is a nice character motivation too. Mostly because he doesn't want to be rich for the sake of being rich, is to save his life. Again, Date is good. Now Goto, on the other hand, is my favorite character in the show, not counting Eiji. I love Goto immediately, because he reminded me a lot of Arata Kagami. Goto deserved to be a Kamen writer, but we had to see his growth firsthand. From being the captain of Kogami's squad, to realizing that he's had enough of Kogami and being humbled down to working as a waiter, to training with Date and being humbled even further to be the assistant to the assistant, and finally knowing his place in this world to become Kamen Rider Birth. Even when Date returns, Goto stays as primary Birth, not proto-birth, and Goto deserved it. What I said about Hina is about as much as I can say about Satonaka.
She's hot. I'll just say that right now. She's hot. She always wore them crazy outfits, and she was hot in every last one of them. And I'm gonna say it again. You don't need cake and all them goodies on your body to be beautiful, ladies, to be sexy. You can be sexy in this way. I'm just saying that right now. Ryo Sakurai loves women like this. Hell fucking yeah.
She's great and brings a lot of laughs because of her uncaring demeanor, but she helps out anyway because it's literally her job.
And look at her in a whole bodysuit.
that Hina
and
doesn't
she
need
comes
to be a
in
writer.
guns
I
blazing.
actually would have liked to see
My
Satanaka
bitch.
use Kamen Rider Birth as
That's
a
my
main
bitch.
user, and
Yes.
not just quickly in a net movie.
In high
So
heels
Tanaka
too.
clearly holds her own in fights, so it would have been cool to see her, Date, and Goto team up as a trio of writers. Now when it comes to the higher ups in the Foundation, I like Kogami. He's a lot of fun. I can kind of see how people wouldn't like him since he is a bit eccentric and loud when it comes to baking cakes, but his moments are usually quick, and whenever he's on screen,
I'm gonna say it for the third foul time. If I could get this man to celebrate anything, to celebrate my birthday, Urban Ninja's birthday, Master Zen's birthday, I would do it. Because I know what I'm getting.
it's only for a couple of minutes at most. Besides, O's has really silly moments in general. Kogami shouldn't be an issue. Oh, I think I've said this before. I like the concept of some big organization that knows more than they lead on, and the Kogami Foundation is nearly perfect. Though just like Smart Brain, my main question is, what exactly do they do in the context of this universe? Do they just exist and no one questions it?
Basically,
they sell Kamen Rider action figures. Actually, that might explain how they get funding.
Yeah, that
The
might
villains
explain
are
it.
great. I love that each greed has their own unique personality and desires that go beyond wanting to be complete or wanting to rule the world. Even when a lot of them are killed off for most of the show and Kazuri is in charge, I still really enjoyed their presence. You just know Uva was there in the shadows waiting for his chance. Meanwhile, Kazuri and Maki are making their moves. Oh yeah, Maki is amazing too. He might be one of my favorite big bads because of how fleshed out he is.
He was
When
just
Maki
weird.
realized
He
that
was
just
honestly
making up
weird.
Good memories of his sister. That blew my mind every time. Or maybe that was a lie too. Then seeing him interact with other characters like Chiyoko, oh, I loved every second. Yeah, the doll thing is a little weird, but I think it's adorable. One thing I haven't mentioned yet when making these videos is that I try to make these in a way where I've said every possible thing I could ever have to say, making a history of Kamen Rider be the end-all video for myself, to the point where I hopefully don't have to bring up those seasons again. Not O's. I love it so much that I feel like I could keep talking about it forever and never get tired of it, especially since I haven't even brought up most of the show after a whole hour of talking. The characters, the story, the camera work, the production, everything. Is nearly perfect. And I think it is the top choice for a newcomer to get into. I love Kamen Rider O's, inside and out. I hope you can love it too.
Of course.
Years later, Goto and friends are called back to help fight against a revived greed. Even Eiji is back to spend time with Hina.
おかえりなさい、エイジ君。
ただいま、ひなちゃん。
But first, Goto tests out the Kogami Foundation's latest experiment, the Birth X driver. However, something goes wrong and it takes him to a parallel world where Hina is O's.
That shit is wild.
And Uva is her partner that took over the body of Eiji's brother. This is The Secret of Birth X. This special is a fun little what-if story that is more than worth the watch because it's less than 20 minutes. And it really is just a fun scenario showing these characters in different roles. My favorite part is that each greed wants to be Hina's partner and they each took over one of Eiji's siblings.
それが一番いいよ。
ガメルは近所に住んでるおじさん。もはやどうでもいい。
In a way, it's a bit of fan service for, me, and I absolutely love it. Really, the only thing I wished was added was having Satanaka as Birth, but look, we got Chiyoko. I won't give too much away since, like I said, it's short, and the fun of it is just watching the characters interact. And I've missed them so much, especially since it's been 10 years. 10 years. A significant round composite number, like a coin, not like a coin. Anyway, 2022 has been the year of many anniversaries, including Kamen Rider O's. As said in MOOC Winter 175, this 10th anniversary O's project is a continuation of the original story, the quote-unquote final version of the show by the original cast and staff. Ryota Tasaki directed a lot of tokusatsu in his time, including 10 episodes of O's, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the episodes he directed were very, very good. You know, like the beautiful final episode. At least we know we'll get some gorgeous shots. But this is the finale of O's, the story we wanted to be completed with Eiji, Ankh, and Hina. Who is the writer? Nobuhiro Mori. You might have heard the name as one of the writers for Gaim, but he mostly wrote for movies and later went on as a secondary writer for Ghost, Geo, Saber, Revice? Oh no. But hey, he did write 6 episodes of O's, which I don't think I even brought any of those up. Maybe they just weren't that important? Okay, well, he also wrote the O's novel. Yasuko Kobayashi was the head writer for O's, as well as many of my favorite tokusatsu ever. Time Ranger, Den-O, Shinkenger, Go Busters, ToQger, and Amazons. Jeez, what a fantastic lineup, showing that she just understands what goes into making great characters. Sure, her shows don't have the most plot, let alone anything that complex, but the characters themselves are what make them fantastic. The characters are the complexity. They evolve with us, and we understand them beyond just being pixels on a screen, especially in O's. It was Sentai to add various variations in the format, but at that time, the so-called Heisei Kamen Rider series had just started, and there was no format that looked like it. Moreover, since it's a serial drama, I do not understand the manners at all. I had a hard time there. As I worked on Ryuki, I gradually came to understand how to create a drama. She just gets it.
Yeah.
Well, she was at least consulted and did supervise this big project. A very divisive project that I wasn't even sure I should talk about. Mostly because I really don't like going back to old videos just to add a bit more content for what I missed in upcoming projects. But
I'm glad you're talking about it.
Because I think O's deserved it. It's been 10 years. 10 years with our favorite characters. 10 years. The core metals of resurrection. Ankh has been reborn in the year 2021, where the world has been taken over by a revived group of greed and the return of King O's. Who for some reason people say is a bad plot point since it's never explained how he returned. Sorry to break it to everyone, but Kamen Rider has not done a lot of explaining for years.
I was getting ready to say, why would anybody be upset about that?
A surprise.
Yeah.
Although, sure. Let's not compare it to the past 50 years of Kamen Rider. Let's look at this movie by itself and still think it's a bad plot point. Except, I don't think so. The original O's left way more things unexplained. Hina's super strength for one. So why is it that a big bad villain gets the flag? It literally would not matter. Nowhere in this universe, galaxy, or planet would it matter by a minuscule of an atom if his return was explained in detail. Let's say Kogami got King O's back. Would that be adequate enough? Or would it still not matter? To me, this quote-unquote critique is the one I've been seeing the most, and it's also the one I think shouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, Ankh's return has him lead his friends to Eiji, who has been hiding out ever since he nearly died saving another girl from the greed. Except, this isn't Eiji, at least not like the one we knew, since this Eiji has been taken over by an artificial greed named Goda. The reason why Eiji is taken over is because he died.
Yeah.
King O's killed him while Eiji was protecting a little girl. Ankh unwillingly teams up with Goda to defeat King O's, until Goda betrays them all and takes all the core metals for himself. Date and Goto fight him off together.
Henshin.
Ankh takes over Eiji's corpse, with Eiji explaining that he did what he wanted the most. It was his one desire to save lives.
Yup.
But it's more than that. His strong desire made another wish come true.
To revive
Eiji
Ankh.
was the one who finally fixed Ankh's broken metal.
Are you?
Now
Oh
Eiji
yeah,
and Ankh are
yeah.
back to fight one last time.
He did fix it because that was his final wish.
With that, they say their goodbyes, as Eiji Hino, who went from a desireless wanderer to the man with the biggest desire of them all, rests in peace. Despite what Toei says, you
That shit
could
hurt.
consider this movie non-canon, since, well, the world wasn't destroyed in 2021, at least not in the movie way. And
Right.
the Birth X special show that parallel universes exist, so you really could just ignore the core metals of Resurrection. Except, that would also be a disservice to the original show.
It would.
No, I don't mean this movie as a disservice. I mean the sentiment of ignoring it.
Right.
Because Eiji was always planned to die. A pamphlet that went
Yeah.
along with the movie had a short interview with Yasuko Kobayashi, and she stated that this ending was planned since the beginning of O's.
Wow.
Due to Japan going through a certain struggle at the time, and that makes sense. Watch her other shows, and there's always someone who makes a sacrifice, even major characters. So having Eiji die alongside Date doesn't
It was
seem
meant
that
to happen.
far-fetched. Besides that,
You know, I kind of, you know what? After seeing that and kind of getting upset about it, it makes sense. And not looking back at Eji's character, it makes sense. He actually was supposed to die. He died doing what he wanted to do, protect an innocent life, and he did it, and he did that. Also, he also wanted the last thing he wanted to do was to revive Ankh, and he got to do that. So, yeah, Eji lived a full life. Did it suck to see him die? Yeah, of course, but as the owner said it, as long as there are those who need a writer, Kamen Riders will always come back. So Eji might just make a return at some point.
this movie, to me, is a beautiful send-off to the characters we love. In the original show, Eiji was selfless to a fault due to what made him lose his desires.
Right.
Ankh wanted to live like a human, but Eiji told him that Ankh doesn't understand what makes a life so meaningful. Now he does, because of Eiji. And that's exactly what Eiji would have wanted. All the other critiques I hear about the movie seem like nitpicking for nitpicking's sake, and that's coming from me, who can complain about anything. Like, come on, sure the movie could be longer, but you could say that with a lot of Toku movies. Maybe this needed a longer runtime than most, though, again, I don't think that matters. Much like giving King O's an explanation, it doesn't matter.
It
What
doesn't.
matters is the sentiment. It's the feeling. It's the characters. It's the story. And it's all really, really good. I'm saying this because I love this movie. I love Kamen Rider O's.
Yeah.
The special friendships formed from an unlikely pair is a story as old as time. But nothing comes close to Eiji, Ankh, and Hina. Their struggles, their smiles, their desire to be with each other. It's a love that goes beyond friendship. They're family. And in a way, I think that includes us too. Whether it's a child growing up with the colorful O's suits, or an adult understanding that, yeah, life is hard, but beyond hope, there will always be a feeling of love. They're not just characters on a screen. They're part of us, through life. It's a feeling I'm sure Eiji would want to share. He may be gone now, but he's still there, with underwear for tomorrow.
Yup. Facts. Facts. Nothing but facts. Nothing but facts. Nothing but facts, bro. Like, seriously. This... Man, I'll tell you this. I love O's. And like I said before, for those of you who have not watched O's, please go watch O's. Go watch O's, listen to the music, get into it, because it's well deserved. It is honestly well deserved. But as such, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it and you've made it to all the way to the end, leave a like. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know if you watched it or not. And if you have not watched it, are you willing to watch it? Because it does deserve to be watched. Like I said before, I will put the other two reactions to the other History of Kamen Rider videos that I just did from Marcosatsu in the description down below. So as y'all can see it, this has been Master Ryo Sakurai. I will see y'all again next time. I'm out. Peace.